Today we will talk about Cosmos that Carl Sagan wrote. This book helps us to understand the infinity of the universe and the infinity of time. Guns from time to time, who was professor of astronomy and space sciences at Cornell University. He played a lead role in Mars missions such as Marin, Viking, and Quasar. Cosmos is not just a book but a journey that leads us to the discovery of Yave and the depths of human thinking. Sagan has made the science so unapproachable that the common man can also easily understand its concept. He has explained how he has told science is a self-acting process that helps us to understand through universe of new discoveries and ideas. Sagan in Cosmos has also shared its personal experience as the concept of Viking lander mission and the Camus TV series that has reached 140 million people around the world. Cosmos is not just a scientific knowledge provider but also inspires us to understand and connect our space between our existence and the universe. The book opens a door that allows us to explore the history of our universe and explore the futures. Thinking for Let's try to understand this book. Chapter 1 of The Source of the Cosmic Carl Sagan says Cosmos is everything that was and what would happen. Our smallest thinking also leads us to the greatest secrets of universe. Carl Sagan has very beautifully explained how our planet means that a very small pebble piece is lost in so large universe. The size of the universe and its age is out of the understanding of the human beings. Yet our species is curious and is quite daring. In the past few thousands of years, the discoveries that are about universe are very stunning and unexplored. These discoveries remind us that humans are made to think and knowledge is essential for the survival. Sagan has used the emphasis that both skepticism and imagery is needed in the exploration. Imagination takes us to worlds that never exist, but we can't do anything without imagination. Imagination helps us to understand the difference in facts and fiction. The dimensions of cosmos are so large that meanings like family units, i.e., meters or miles, are difficult to use, so we measure distances from light speeds. Light in a light year travels about 10 trillion kilometers. The meaning is a unique place as life like us is just found. Sagan says life chance are too much in the universe, but yet we did not explore them. The galaxy is called sea froth in the seaside of space that are scattered in different clusters. Every galaxy has billions of stars and every around the star can be planet. Our galaxy like Milky Way has 400 billion stars, but yet we just know one, i.e. Sun. Well, Sagan says that if we are a rental place in universe, then the chance to get an inhabited planet is very low. Local group of galaxy like Andromeda Galaxy is far from our own galaxy. Stars and planet are walking in an organized way in the spiral arms of Milky Way. Stars' systems are different. There are some single stars like Sun, and there are some double or multiple star systems such as supernova stars are very bright, while black holes invisible. Every star comes with its unique properties, such as blue stars are hot and young. Yellow stars are middle-aged and red stars elderly. Sagan has reported that every star system is like an island in space where it can be difficult to explore out of it. Anywhere life has been evolved, but yet we didn't discover them. Our solar system kills like planet in which volcan activities and sandstorms come maybe support the simple forms of life. Sun is a powerful star that lights from a thermonuclear reaction, and the planet around it is heated with this light. The meaning of Sagan says that this is a blue-white world surrounded by ocean and filled with life. It is a rare gem in the planet cosmos where our life has been orientated and has been our ration that exfoliate cosmos, and that's also our destination. The meaning is our home where we're advancing our lives, and maybe a day we have our own long voyage journey will complicate the call. Sagan has also told Eratosthenes, who lived in the city of Alexandria, Eratosthenes called the people of his time beta, as his contestants said that he is on the second number in everything in the world, but in fact Aristophanes was alpha in everything. He was an astronomer, historian, geographer, philosopher, poet, theater critic, and mathematician. He also worked as the director of the large library of Alexandria, where he read a Pepe Juice book in a day sign that on June 21 there is no shadow on the pillars standing directly at the afternoon in the sign on Summer Solstice. The sun is straight over them. Erdo SC observed that there is a big difference between Alexandria and the sign. Shadows are formed on the noon in Alexandria in shadows, while not formed in the sign. This observation helped them to understand that the meaning is round. He calculated the distance of the sign from Alexandria. Napcar Earth's circumference calculate that he told about 40,000 km. This calculation he just used pillars' eyes and minds. It was very amazing for 2,200 years ago. Carl Sagan also complimented the Library of Alexandria, which was the largest research institute in that time. Here all sorts of scholars met. About 500,000 music in the astronomers, mathematicians, and philosophy library. The large thinkers like Edos Tas learned a lot in this library and gave the world a new perspective. After discovery of Rato Tas, the people also inspired more than VJS of exploration. Their calculations also explored such as Columbus, who inspired the explorer. The US discovered Columbus created his Vagus by manipulating Eratosthenius's calculations. Carl Sagan says antiquity music and age is so much that our human concerns look very small. Seconds say that our curiosity and bravery help us understand the universe. We know that the universe is about 15 to 20 billion years old, which began from Big Bang. Since Big Bang, the transformation of matter and energy is ongoing to date. Sagar scholars of Alexandria Euclid Dios. Hero Phyllis Hiron Ponces are also highlighted the transition of acromy geometry, language, physiology, engineering, and mathematics. Today we have been exploring in space with the help of technology that was earlier impossible. We can see its round shape and continents on Earth from above, which old graphers have already predicted. Carl Sagan has explained that we are exploring our backyard, i.e. space, and maybe a day we will explore our long wedges travel. Chapter 1. One of the oldest philosophy of the fuse evolution was in bondage during the mild rule of the theological scholasticism and put in the dark, but Charles Darwin took new lives in this old framework. These bonds broke down, and the revived thought of the old Greece proved that it is a better way to understand the universal order. All the organic organisms that have been ever alive on this earth. The same is the glory of life in this approach, that when it is reciprocating according to the fixed laws of the planet, gravity is so wonderfully even from the beginning, and the evolve all living things on our planet are made of organic molecule. The central role of compacted atom was a time when there was no life. Now our world is loaded with life. How it came to life before it came to life. How we like music even on the compacted one, who is probably revoking the second season around. Is there even life? If extraterrestrial life exists, is he and also based on organic molecules like us? Will their beings look like us, or that is absolutely different with the adaptation? Evolve has been the cosmos of Carl Sagan raises the question of what is the nature of life and the discovery of life on other planets means. Both are two aspects of the same question. What are the dark areas in the middle of stars that have the presence of the clouds of gas, dust, and organic matter? Radio telescopes have found a variety of organic moleculars there. The overdose of these moleculars tells us that life goods exist all the space. Perhaps the original and evolution of life is a cosmic inevitable if given a considerable time. Milky Way of billion in galaxy. Some of the planets will never come to life. Some will die, and then only the simple forms will have evolved, and some small fractions. Intelligence and civilization on the worlds can be more advanced developments. It is said that perfectly suitable for Earth life, moderate temperatures, liquid water, oxygen, atmospheric, is this confusion of TC costs and effects. We Earthings are very well adapted for our environment, as we have grown here, which were the first forms of life that were not well adapted. He died. We do organics that do well. Organist smashes, who were in the different world, will also complement their environment. Artificial selection has an agenda that many physical and behavioral traits, plant and animals have an inheritance to certain varieties, and discourages the lilies that are varieties encourage. Preferentials music reproductive discs are performed. They are rare or extant, but if the humus can create new varieties, nature can also be done. Natural selection says a lot of species have grown during the evolution that were the terminated experiments of evolution. The species followed each other slowly before Cambrian exploitation. A part of this may also be that our information was not as rich as we understand today. The lower organist musks in the early history of the Earth had hard parts, and the foci records of soft beings also get less, but a part is also that the new forms before the Cambrian exploitation were really slowly the cell structure and biochemistry pen-stacking evolution directly not reflected in fossil records after the Cambrian explosion. The new adaptation began to come from a very fast speed. The first fish and vertebrates came plants that were previously limited in oceans. They began to call the land. The first inducts were evolve, and their descendants made the role of the pioneer in colonizing the animals on the land. The wing inducts and beautians came together that both lands and waters could slavish in both trees, and reptiles came to the dinosaurs evolve mammals emerged birds. The flowers came and the dinosaurs turned out to be the early cetas ants that are the answer of dolphins and whales. The same period consists of primates, i.e., manage ads and humans. They are also the evolve less than 10 million years ago first creatures which were close ridges human beings. They were also an evolve as well as the spectre in the brain size, and then just a few million years ago, true humans are the essentials of noon coins of organic mall, but just about 50 years of life. Patterns are used repeatedly for conservatively and ingenious different functions and protons in the molecular heart of life that control cell chemistry and nucleic acid that carry hereditary instances. This is the essential ident in molecule plants and animals. One such oak tree and Carl Sagan, i.e., we are made of all beans stuff. If you ever go back, our common answer shows you that the living cell is a common cell in 4 billion years. Human DNA is a ladder that is 1 billion nucleotides long. Most is the possible combination of nucleotides nonsense. It codes the protons that don't perform ugly function, just extremely limited. No of nucleic acid is ugly for molecules life forms, but wedges of vase to veneer nucleic acids are very large. Probably far greater than total number of electron and proton in the universe. Evolution works through the mutation and selection. Enzyme DNA during mutations rept polymerase can be mistaken, but it is very rare. Mutations can also be caused by radioactivity or ultraviolet light, cosmic rays, or environmental chemicals that can change the nucleotide or tie the knots of nucleic acids. If the mutation rate is too high, we lure the evolution of 4 billion years. If it is too low, then the new varieties will not be invaluable. A precise balance between mutation and selection is necessary for the evolution of life for a future environmental change. Remarketing Nij masa was probably not a cell split due to a mutation, and the first multicellular organics were invented about 2 billion years ago before the new variants were just released from random mutation. Two organisms were able to change all paragraphs, pages, and books of DNA codes from the invention of evolution, had sex from the letter by letter of letter changes in genetic instruments, which were filled with new life forms rapidly evolutionary osh tribate like lenum inducts, but trilbites don't ages today. Their fault shows how dynamic and unpredictable the solution is. Every species came and went on to their time. That shows the ongoing process of evolution. This second chapter of Cosmos takes us into the depths of evolution. The concept of natural and artificial selection is understood and is written from life-oriented to complex concepts. Now move forward. The Harmony of Worlds. Carl Sagan, on the side of the chapter 3, says that our world is an interesting place. It is neither absolutely static nor at all. The unpredictable is the place in which it is according to Pater's rules and laws that give us a chance to understand and learn if the world is always one, and it is difficult to understand if everything is random. Our universe is in between, predictable also and dynamic. So we do science and make our lives better through science. In the old time there was no TV, books, or radio, but they had a thing that was the sky of the night. Sagan says that the stars do a strange magic. Every night near campfire, the people sitting on the patterns of the stars and creating a tsunami in the northern sky, a pattern called Great Bear, while some others thought something different. This pattern is not really in the sky, but the result of human imagery is the result of 17th century's European sailors saw sodden sky. They placed symbols such as the telescope, microscope, and compass there. If the name of the constells in the 20th century, perhaps the bicycles, refrigerators, and rock stars were in sky. Our ancestors sometimes looked at a tilde star that shined for a moment and saw the rock stars in sky, then disappeared. It was called the falling star, but the old stars were in their place. The thing was according to a pattern that shows the predictability of the sky. Stars always rise from east and set in the west. This works look in a predictable order every season. This permanence realizes a comfort. Any old story like us that always has a happy ending. Our ages saw the sky as a calendar, seeing the positions of stars and suns, predicting the scenes with a journey of science and astrology. It began, but the people looking at the planet that came inside the astrology, mysticism, and superstition thought that they would have an effect on human life. It would be wondering when people began to pay attention to planets' motion and their effects. Astrology was a strange combination of observation and mathematics, but also had fuzzy thinking and frad. 2000 years ago, personal astrology developed, which combined the position of planet with human life. Words such as disaster, i.e., bad star, and influence, i.e., astral impact, show how deep astrology was ingress. Some people were caused by the planet death, for the Romans were called the planet struck. Even today, astrology is popular. Daily newspapers have horoscope prints, while the coverage of the astronomy is rare. It shows the cultural preferences that sometimes overshadow the scientific curiosity. The sky is an astrant min that reflects the fears and hope of our Esther, seeing and understanding towards our sky, whether it is through science or a universal journey of astrology that connects to us all. Harmony of Worlds shows that how the sky has been the source of an inspiration and guidance, and is still the astrology called Sagan, that it was taken like science, but it cannot get rid of its incompletes. He gives a simple test: twins, what life? He says that a twin dies from an accident in childhood several times, while the second has long and successful life. Both are born a place and at the same time. Planets' position also leads to sums and how astrology can predict their different future. Astrologers fail to understand the meaning of a horoscope even in themselves. His science-based test appears to fail, that it is a pseudoscience. Our sky is always the inflatable flags and astronomically symbols for civilizations. The United States flag has 50 stars. There is sun in Japan, and the Ashok chakra is a cosmological symbol in the flag of the South Cross constellation, India and Australia. This flag shows that we feel a universal connection, but this connection is not as astrology but through the science. Matter's original meaning is the habitability and human evolution. The root of the modern astrology in the themes music is in the work of Ptolemy, who worked in the 2nd century Alexandria, codifying the Babylonia astrology. He created the rules for planetary motion. An example is the horoscope of his time, that the fusion between the astrology and astronomy of Ptolemy and Cyrus and Venus Equoria was normal at his time, but the modern astrologers overlooked the scientific discoveries such as equinox of equinox and astronomers. The impact astronomy is a science, while astrology is a bilingual system that without evidence Clama assumed the meaning to be the center of the universe. It was a natural idea because we think the meaning is immoral and everything is moving around us. He created a model of spheres and off-center wheels to explore planetary motion that could predict the retrograde motion of the planet. This model was dominant for medieval time, and Nicholas Copernicus in 1543, stopping the progress in astronomy by a millennium to support the Church. The model of the centered universe proposed, in which the meaning is a planet that dissed the sun. This model had a beater expelling the planetary motion, but it offended many. The Catholic Church put the Copernicus book in the list of the forbidden books. Martin Luther took his joke and said that the sun stops according to the Bible. But the model of the Copernicus was a new beginning, created a way to a scientific revolution that proceeded from the work of Kepler and Galileo. John Kepler read in a Protestant seminary born in 1571 in Germany, where his theology training took place, but his mind took place in geometry and natural harmonies. He considered geometry as a divine and said the time of the geometry assisted before creation it is the God mind. Kepler was superstitious and reliably dogmass, but he had the idea that if the world is a God's creation, he should close adjamin. This thought process has taken them from the misconception of astrology. Kepler looked at the patterns of universe and the planetary motion as harmonies. Kepler's thinking teaches us that if we try to understand nature's book, so we can find a better understanding of our universe. Here for the cleric studies from Kepler Taube University in 1589. Their reliant sense took place from the Copernican heliocentric hypothesis. The model had to resonate with the sun, a divine center round which the planets revolved. Before becoming clergy, they received the offer to teach the mathematics in Graz, Austria, which they adapted. Kepler did not succeed in classroom tacking, but during a day lecture he thought an idea just six planet is a cosmic mystery model by connecting Pythagoras' Platonical's concept with planets' spacing. This model was based on that the planet's orbit is disassembly from the Platonically. Kepler felt that it is proof of the design of the geometry God, but his model was not matched with observances without accurate astronomical data. Tycho B was a Danish nobleman and observer. He had accurate planetary observation. Tycho called the Kepler Prague, where he called his observations. Yes, did Tycho Sagan says there was a flame bunt and aromatist. He did not share his data completely with Kepler, but was required for his collaboration astronomy. After the die of Tycho, Kepler got the data and he analyzed his details. Analyzing the Presta observations of Tycho's Mars, Kepler rejected the circular orbit by Kepler after 3 years of calculations. He took the orbit of Mars to elliptical declare. He made his first law of planetary motion. Sun at one focus. Kepler also unveiled that the planet moves close to Sun and slows down when it goes away. This observation made their second law of planetary motion from planets sweep out equivalent areas in equivalent times. Kepler's third law of planetary motion that mitigates planetary motion. He dissipated his book The Harmony of the World. He wrote that the squares of the periods of the planet are proposal to the cubes of the dirge distance from the Sun. This law solar system's clockwork perfectly differentiates. Kepler made a physical cos imagery for planetary motion. He coordinated Sun's gravitational influence as a magnetic force. It was his groundbreaking contribution. Astronomy as a part of physics. This idea was a major shift from a mystical haven to a scientific universe. Kepler's life is a trek of 30 years' war. He also traveled his wife and son in an epidemic to his career due to the lost reliance conflate and financial strangles. Kepler's lodge is universal. This spacecraft's binary stars study and explain galaxies' motion. His vision was a foundation for modern astrophysics. Kepler saw his discoveries as a non-harmony. He wrote, I am writing the book to BRD. Irrespect now and by posterity it matters no. It can wait a century for a reader's. God himself Jazz wanted 6,000 years for it. Ness Kepler was a bridge in the Ancetites mini book, which was a science fiction and an attempt to disperse information. In this Kepler described the journey on a moon from which the traveler moves the meaning slowly. This book was an attempt to explain the concept of rotation of meaning. Kepler told the moon full of mountains and valleys and said that there is a creature adapted to his low environmentals, but he mistakenly thought that the atmosphere and summer on the moon is the circular shape of the craters. He considered the creation of an intelligent race that was wrong. Actually is the result of the impact of the emitters. Isaac Newton was born in 1642. A weak and alone childhood on the Christmas. Study in Cambridge and worked on calculus optics and universal gravitation while staying in the Valstoff village at the time of the plague. Newton gave the law of motion and pointed out that gravity is a universal force that drops an apple and also holds the moon in orbit. Newton defended the gravitation as the inverse square law, force decrease s the square of the distance inc. This law applies to all planet moons and stars. Newton's laws Thoritz valid Wesh Kepler and Newton gave science a universal philosopher. Both of the datas respected and understood the fundamental laws of nature's apex of planets' motion, and Newton made possible his Thoritz Polo. Newton wrote his discoveries that I do know. What I was in the upper to the world, but to myself I seem to have been like a boy playing on the seashore. The great ocean of truth la all undiscovered before me. It was the recognition of both humanity and dedication. Kepler and Newton. Chapter 4 Haven and Hail. Our planet Earth seems to be a beautiful and quiet place in human history. The arms make themselves trapped by the Earth, and other planetary records show that the Maha calamities are possible. Just the time scale changes that seem impossible in 100 years can be fixed in 100 million years. On June 30, 1908, the Tungsuk Horizon of Siberia got to see a huge laga in the sky. It has devastated the 2,000 square kilometers of the forest. The Russian government did not pay attention to this, and after 10 years of the event, the investigation began on it. The statements of witnesses show that the people smeared in the air and a sharp warm air ravaged everything. Many reasons for the shaken Tungsuk event are the hit of the understood anti-matter crush of a mini black hole or an extraterrestrial shrap, but no evidence supports these ideas firmly. The most reliable understanding is that a small comet fragment hit the ground of the size of the football field, is mostly made of snow that has water, methane, and ammonia. When it hit the Earth's atmosphere, a sharp blast and fireball is formed that can shake the ground but not become much larger pits. The found on the Ungsu side. Small diamonds indicate that some of the survivors of the comet can be evidence of pieces. Every year we see the Mitre SARMs in the sky. This is a piece of small comet that falls into the atmosphere of the Earth. The incident took place on the day of the Beta Tauride Mitre Vour, which is associated with the comet Cake. The period Sagan says that it seems that the fragment that hits the Tungsuk was a big piece of the same comet. If there is an event like Tungsuk in the time of today, it is likely to understand the nuclear exfoliation, understand the nature of the comets and their collision, and improve their monitoring systems. If timely use of science and logic, it is impossible to solve this impossible power of nature. The Newton attracted to the astronomy comet of the 16th and 177th century proved that the comets rotate in the elliptical orbit like the planet, and their light is the reflection of the sunlight. It was the Newton's friendsman Halley who gathered this knowledge in 1707 that the comets of 1531, 1607, and 1682 were the same comet that in every 76 years the Earth possessed. The modern science believes that the collision of the comets has an effect on the atmospheric of the planet. Newton assumed that the life of seawater and Earth has probably come through the comet. William Huygens has a RT cloud ahead of the 18,680 survivors Pluto in the circular orbits that have trillion comets. Sometimes due to a passing star, these comets change their orbits and move toward the Sun. Jupiter and Saturn change their orbit and it appears around the Earth. Their tail causes solar winds that extend far away. Comets and small asteroids continue to hit the Earth and Moon. This is the survivor of the creation of the solar system. The small object is high due to their collision in the tubergen of the large object. A small collision from the Earth of the comet such as the Tungus event is likely to be once every 1,000 years, but a large nucleus like the Halley's comet that is about 20 kilometers wide. The event of its collision is just once a billion year. Carl Sagan says that the Earth is a small and fresh world. It is our biggest responsibility, is our decision is not just for a planet but for the future of all human society. Chapter F. Blooms for Red Planet. Mars has always been the fantasies of people. It is the planet closest to the Earth whose surface we can see polar ice caps, white cloud dust storms, and a 24-hour day. It reminds all the Earth. People like civil novel thought that Mars have nudges and canal that is evidence of the creation of intelligent beings, but 20th century's spacecraft miles proved incorrectly on Mars. There are no civilizations yet. The dusty soil of Mars and the secrets of their bottom look amazing. Lowell's notebooks show that he had kept his thoughts after the observation of the telescope's years. He saw Mars like a desert, but like a Jinda desert that's probably like us. But spacecraft imagery proved that Lowell's seen canal bus was an optical illusion. There's no evidence on the Mars surface that confirms his obs. Carl Sagan says that when he was small, so John Carter tried to Mars, his hands stood in the field of spread and praying to be a transport coat on the side of Mars. It was just imagined. The development of rocket science was necessary to reach real Mars. The development of rocket is a long journey that began from China's firework. People like Konstantin Tyslovsky and Robert Goddard extended this technology to the scientific and interplanetary travel. German V-2 rockets and US-Soviet space races in 20th century killed this technology. Today, the efforts of multiple miles such as NASA Viking landers and European and Asian Space Agency have put the true picture of Mars. We have witnessed the evidence of the ancient rivers and the dried-up lake beds on the surface of Mars. All shows that there was water and a habitable environment. Music is also an exploration of Mars at the beginning. It is a deserted and cold world. But the secrets in his soil are hidden. Was there ever life? We can make the base there. All the questions are the exploration of Marx. Co and Exing make the period says we talk about making Mars Earth a terra where it is a challenging and ambitious dream to make his environment resemble the Earth. But there is a big step for the human curiosity and science. Carl Sagan says that when the birthist of rocket technology spoke to Tyslovsky and Goddard space travel, he saw two dreams. An orbit on station that can see the Earth and a probe that seek life on Mars has now been completed. Carl Sagan says that if an alien civilizational visitor does not have any preconceptions to the Earth, so it will look like a planet. The Earth will take a barren and life place from a distance, but as the resolution will be innovated, an intact pattern will look at the road, cities, and farmlands. This geometrical pattern is evidenced by human intelligence. On the Mars, if there are such canal and patterns, the focus of being intelligent beings is strong, but the spacecraft imagery did not give this proof. The landscape of Mars is a mystery. It is hardly always the life of Mars. Atmospheric thin, mostly made of carbon dioxide, and the temperature is quite cold. The open body of the water may not be there because the pressure is so low that the water becomes boil. The microorganist of the Earth that sieves in extreme conditions, we can become the base of a study for Mars environment. We created Mars jets and cultivated the simulation of Mars and expedited on the microbes. Some microbes died due to cold oxygen deficiency or ultraviolet radiation that did not require oxygen and dormant at cold times. He went to survive. It shows that the microorganist of Mars is more likely to have his survival if the ageist. The Soviet Union made successful landing on Venus but failed every mission on Mars. 3 more Mars 6 spacecraft landed after a large global dust storm was not crashed due to the March 6 failure, still a mystery. The failure of Soviet miles worked for American Viking miles. Viking mission careful plan was the landing site's radar and orbiter imagery. These low elevation and low wind areas were lit in 1976 and 1976 in Viking 1 and Viking 2 Safely Ferry, and first photos of landed Mars and Utopia ridges show us a stark and barren landscape, dust and red clay terraforming of stone sand, i.e. Mars environmental is a concept that has been thought we can transform surface conditions by heating the Mars polar caps and bringing much oxygen and water vapor to the atmosphere. Very long and challenging process, but the possible is the Chapter 6 Traveler's Tales. Albertson asks whether there are many worlds or just the same world. Is Carl Sagan says it is a profound question. The people of the Earth always thought that we are alone, but the new invention has opened new trails, such as it seemed impossible to cross the sea at a time. The dream of reaching the moon was also impossible, but the time has always shown new truth. Today humans have unloaded their ship in a new sea, i.e. space. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, i.e. JPL. This robotic spacecraft unconsciously explores the world. The two spacecrafts have a good atmosphere. Carl Sagan says it is a sophisticated machine that travels to the interplanetary. It is on its journey in the space that originates from the planets like Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. The camera of Vassar sent photographs of Jupiter and his moon, which was also out of our imagination. Carl Sagan says that the miles like Vassar is the beginning of a new chapter. It does not give us just the pictures of the new planets, but show what human mind can think and his engineering. As the Dutch were exploring new seas in their time, so today we are exploring the space new corner. With every new step we ask new questions and find new answers. Thinkers such as Galileo and Huygens always took new questions and they showed us the way to move towards new solutions. Today, robotic spacecrafts such as the robotic spacecraft are won by the human curiosity. Examples that give us the power to dream new and understand the new world. That is the real story of human discovery. Guns from time to time right further that the Jupiter's this light reflects in back space when the sun light is on the dice Europa. This light is a picture of the Whispers television camera. The picture is read by Vassar's computers and then sent to the Earth as a radio signal. The journey is about 500 million kilometers. Spain Mojave Desert on Signal Earth meets one of the radio telescopes of California or Australia. The photo of Europa in 1979 was captured by the telescope of Australia. This signal was then captured in a meaning orbit. Through the existing satellite, Southern California's jet propels reached the laboratory. There is a computer that processes this data. The picture is like a newspaper's wire photo. The collection of around 1 million dots shows every dot a shade of gray. These dots store in a magnetic disk after the process is like a phonograph record. Vassar took 18,000 photos in the Jupiter system that was stored in the same way and the photo printed on a gloss paper in the front of us. This photo came first in 9 July 1979 history. The human eyes. The time Sagan writes that Vassar 2 had sent the Europa's close-up picture, which is one of the 4 Gallian satellites of the Jupiter. The picture looks like the Mars-Kali Canal, which were in the dream of the Lowell, but the lines that were showing on Europa was somewhat different. This straight and cured lines create an intricate network. Photos showed that there is a smoothie like the Europa billiard ball without an impatient crater. Is this smooth surface formed when the surface at the time of the impact goes back to the ice melt that was showing the line? There were cracks and grooves to which the originals have so far become a mistress. Carl Sagan writes that a captain writes in the logs of his ships if there is a Vassar miss. Man had some problems with a successful latch instrument function from the day 1 Cape Canaveral, but everything was okay. DAY 13 The first picture was taken in which the Earth and Moon look together upon the orbit of 215. Mars was crossed on the other side of the planet. Action 475 asteroid belts were posting the lookout for the fear of college. And DAY 570 Jupiter is looking bigger in the sky. DAY 650 Jupiter radiation belts, and newly the discord rings crossed the safely. Amalthea is a moon of the EO Jupiter. Taken photographs such as Europa and Callisto. A different story tells. Carl Sagan writes that a red, yellow, and black multicolored landscape on its surface showed that there is an active volcano on the EO that ignites the sulfur. Discovery was a navigation team member, Linda Morbido. He edited a loom that was above a volcano, tides that are formed on the EO due to the gravity of the Jupiter and Europa. The result of a liquid sulfur that makes new plants and mounts coming to the surface. Seconds right that Gajar's next mission was Saturn and his rings. Titan Stern's biggest moon comes with a dense atmosphere. The Titan filled with methane and organic molecule became a point of life's likelihood. This discovery of Vassar was not just about planet, but a new way to understand our own original and life's positivity. Vassar spacecraft is part of an epic. Wes crosses the space's seaside, finds new worlds and new questions. Travel there is still an Italian journey that takes us closer to the secrets of our universe. The chapter Send the Backbone of Night was a time when people did not know the science and libraries. People lived and hunted in the wilderness. Every facet of their life was connected to nature. He understood the behavior of animals and learned from them. The roles and stories were the way to live. One day he saw the fire. A flashing burning thing before him was just and starred. The fire remained his new friend. He took the fire with himself. And he made his friend. At night the fire gave them light and saved from the animals. Then he looked at the stars and make stories. Is this star is the campfires of the second hunter-gatherers, or the sky is a big black skin with the shells and the stars are the flame behind those shells? This question disturbs them. Hunter-gatherer made metaphors like campfires in the sky or backbone of night. Gradually humans had on the mood of these gods. Drought storms or wars. He considered the angry of gods. Pressed and to calm gods. Oracles was a human understanding limited and nature was a mystery. The question of the hunter-gatherers and his stories are the basis of our today's science. Today we know what is the star. Speaking away with the big summer, it is the same way to think and learn. From our ancestors where we started, the stories of the stars gave us the power to understand cosmos. A time at Iron Deep of Samos was a great temple dedicated to Hera. He was the goddess of the Osman, over time, and the wife of Jos, who were the chief of the gods. His Hanuman was also on the same Samo deep. Greek religion said that in the sky, which is the thin sea leaf of the Duddialites, is made of Hera's milk. From this, the milky came into consideration. We humans are the descendants of the ancestors who made stories to understand the dangers of life. He understood the secrets of nature as gods such as the sky earth at Homer in ancient Greece. There were different gods of the sea and love. Every tree and hay had its own maynard or diet. Humans created the god because nature was unpredictable for them. For thousands of years people believe that the world is a puppet in which the gods, the strings are pulled. Then a new thinking was born in Ionia years ago. This new idea rose up on the Samo and surrounding islands of Greece. The people said that everything is made of atom. The human beings and animals are simply vaulted. The disease is not an angry of the gods but natural cause. The earth is a planet that distance the sun and the stars are far away. The old Greeks believed that the world is made of chaos and night together created gods and human beings. But the thinkers of Ionia in the 6th century BC had a new cosm, considered that the world is worth understanding because it has an order. There are its own rules of nature that we can understand. Ania was a wonderful place. Here there was different political practice in different deeps. The same strength could not suppress everyone. The education of writing was for everyone and the views were open to debt. Ionia was a place where Africa met the views of Asia and Europe. All this idea made a perfect position for the birth of science. Ionia was the first scientist Thales that lived in the Millet city. He went to Egypt and Babylon, and from there was astronomy and bringing knowledge of the geometry. He predicted a solar eclipse. His height nape using the shadow of the pyramid and the sun's angle. This is the same method that today we do to nudge the height of the mountains of the moon. This said that the earth is made of water. Through a natural process, this approach to the intervention of a god was born a new idea that we did not need gods to understand the world. The friend Ants Mender of the Thales made an experiment that he measured the length and season of the year by using the shadow of a stick. Created a map and considered a skeleton mender that the earth itself hinged in the center of the universe. Without any other wonderful idea of them was that humans and animals simply evolved. He said that the first animals lived in water, then he came to the earth. This idea was a symbol of the ancient form of Darwin's natural selection of the theory. Near 540 BC, tyrant named Polycharis in Samos reigned. He built a bee safety wall that was 6 kilometers long. He became a tunnel to bring water, which was a tunnel to bring water. It was a wonderful example of engineering that passes inside a mountain, but it was done by slaves. Paul's time engineer Theodore made a ruler and other tools such as Edocles. His first experiment in which he showed an invisible substance that we call air does not let the water go into a container. It was the beginning of the idea of an atom and matter. Now Darrah's Democrats considered the atoms. He said that everything from the world is made from the atom that is not more dividend. The idea of Democritus was that thinking and conception is a physical process and the deity does not include the epic center of the birth of Ionia. Science was the thinkers such as Thales Nieder and Democritus considered a new society in which it was possible to understand nature without the deities. The idea went further and made the basis of modern science. The Democrats said that everything is the collection of the atoms. The intricate assemblage is the game of atoms and voids, including humans. When a knife bites an apple, he passes through the empty space between the atoms. If the void is not, the knife stops hit by the atom, and the apple could not be harvested. In 750, Thomas Wright said that Democritus was a group of many unregistered stars to the Milky Way without telescope. He used reason without the thought right to the ender and infinity that Democritus's thinking was equivalent to today's advanced astronomies. Democritus was a strange human. He was a time to go to think of relationships and the family. He believed that happiness is the goal of life and he did a great job on atheism. He believed that there was an immortal work on earth. There is no soul or God. There is nothing, just atoms and voids. Egos were another Aeonian experimentalist that remained in Athens around 450 BC. He was a passionate to science and said that the goal of life is sun, moon, and Suraman's study. In an experiment, he showed that a closed white liquid does not lighten the darkness of a large peak. This meant that there are some changes that cannot be seen directly from the eyes. Anaxagoras said that the moon shines not from its light, but with the sun-refined light. This thinking so controversial was that their work was collected in the secret. He said the sun and the stars of fire that are so far that his summer does not feel us. The mountains of the moon and the inhabitants of there kept the idea of inhabitants in which he was wrong. At the time of Athens the leader had a profound relationship with Pex, but Pex's enemies attacked their friends. Anaxagoras was imprinted for the MPT as he said that the sun is a stone and the moon is an ordinary place. His work, which was part of the greatness of thence, his agonist. The issue became Pythagoras. Samo was one of the most affected human beings of him. He considered the earth ammunition and he created the Pythagorean theorem in which the sum of the squares of both sides of a right triangle is equal to the squares of the large side. Pythagoras believed that Cosmos has been open for an orderly and hormonal understanding. Pythagorean was a mathematical and mystical group. He believed that the laws of the universe can be understood from the whole thoughts. He came to another thought that estimates of the original numbers. His mathematical there was a threat to theory because he concealed some discoveries such as duohedron and irrational numbers were another large scientist of sought after Pythagoras. Ruster Chas said that the sun is at the center of the planetary system and the earth is dizzy of it. He took an idea of the sun's size and distance from lunar eclipses observation and said the sun is quite big and the earth's dizziness makes sense, and the thoughts of touches such as Copernicus' work had already shown everything right, but their contemporaries rejected them. We took 1,800 years. All the people were behind the same question of where we have understood the same thing that the earth and the human beings are not a special place. This resolving extends to the astronomic biology and politics. If we want to make our world important, then we have questions and answers to them. The expansion is inside us. We are winders. Now it is time to sail in the cosmic ocean and reach the stars. The chapter 8 travels in space and music. In the words of Time Chowing Ju, we all find little or bigger. There are a word that symbolizes the depths of human thinking and the best look of time-space. Carl Sagan says that the stars are always like our friends. Night sky's amazing colors and their funny journeys advance our imagination. The ups and downs of the sea remind us of the typos and the gravitational force. It shows the little things that the effect of the moon and sun reaches us. The middle sand granules remind us of the time and space. A handful of sand has millions of grains, but it is also less than the counting wires that are in the cosmos, that the stars that are in the cosmos that are in the cosmos that are the stars that are in the cosmos that are in the cosmos that are in the cosmos that are the stars that have reached by the middle sand granules. We see just some of the nearby stars. There are endless stars in big cosmos. The old astronargies were designed on paper. These star clusters are simply an electronic because we just see the nearby stars. Stars are far away from each other. Constants change only when we travel to the interstellar distance. Our technology is not yet worth doing it. And the computer models give us the chance to visit this visual. Seeing from different angles like Big Dealer shows us the new forms of night sky. Constables change not only in space. If we look at Big D, Parer in the past, it will look like a spear. If you see in the future, Leo the lion will take a different shape. Perhaps a radio telescope pattern is formed. Ryan is an iconic consolidation will continue to immerse with supernova exfoliation due to its crowns and hot stars. This night sky is a colorful and canvas living in constant motion. Second says that Alpha Centauri is the closest star system in our solar neighborhood. Centauri is the closest to Andromeda. A star Beta Andromeda 75 light-years away. Her light reaches us 75 years later. If the TAR ended tomorrow, we will take 75 years to know that space and time is intervene. Seeing away things is equal to the window view of a pest. The distance of 300 light-years from the center of the Milky Way or 2 million light-years distance from the Andromeda galaxy tells us that we have a very small space in a large cosmos. A teenage dropout Albert Einstein in the village of 1890. Such questions. What would we look like if we travel on a light wave? He created the fundamental principles of relativity from simple questions. Einstein showed that the speed of the light is universal and no object can run faster than that. It was necessary for the consistency of the rule cosmos and the logic. Mass increases when traveling near the speed of the light. Time slows down and things seem compresses. Relativity shows us a world that is beyond our common sense. It can become an elder of slow aging. We design starships like Orion and Daedalus and propelled by using ion hydrogen bombs, but it threatens radioactive debris. Dallas dreams of a fusion reactor that can go up to a speed of light on 10. This will be 43 years of journey to Alpha Centauri, which is possible for human life, but the construction of these ships is still a far dream. Just in the future can be an idea like interstellar RAM, which makes the interstellar hydrogen as fuel. This is an unable engineering scale. Will be able to fulfill the dream of having this vast journed world of thoriates. The question for the journey of cosmos is essential by Einstein and old thinkers. We have another dream of reaching stars through a consistent and understandable world, visible relativity and interstellar engineering. Cosmos is an arrogant that will keep us inspired for a new journey. If we fall from a tree every second, we fall sharper than seconds at 10 meters. This is the accumulation that binds us to the surface of the meaning. Gravity is the habit of living with 1g. If an interstellar spaceship moves to the integration of 1g, it will take a natural environment. According to Einstein's general theory of relativity, the forces of the gravitational forces and an accelerating spaceship are quite likely to be a spaceship that excretes 1 g continuously in 1 year can reach close to the speed of light if it exalted to the midpoint of the craft journey and then withdraw from VG to D. So the journey from Bernard to star is just 8 years as per the clock of ship. Milky Way will take 21 years to reach the center and 28 years for the Andromeda galaxy, but on the sense people will see taking this journey 300 years of time. Astronauts in such a journey will not be able to see their friends and family coming back as they have gone beyond due to all the time dilate. The relative space flight shows us a way to travel sharply in the future, but it takes a different question to go back to the past. If we go to the past and some change as we are not born, The contraction makes physicists believes that the POS abilities of going back to the past are limited, but some believe that perhaps the parental dimensions perform ageist where the alternate history moves. If the estetite trades, maybe our world today is quite different. Industrial revolution takes 2000 years ago and Leonardo and Einstein's discoveries become thousands of years ago, but this peril is the influence of everything we do not do today ageist in the world, like fertilizing one of a sperm. If an alternate at timeline Ionian spirit has won, perhaps we have sent our survey ships to the Alpha Centauri and the Bernard star till today. The Time Sagan says that we have a transaction race, but our thinking and ambition give us a special place in cosmos. One day we will reach the stars that just look through the telescope. Then we will see that this journey between space and time is just a beginner. The chapter Know the Lives of the Stars. Ra, Egyptian sun god, says that they separated the day and night and everything originated from their lights. This story shows an ancient thinking that the sun and stars make everything. Vincent Wan G says that if we need peace, then the night will have to look at the stars in the sky, but how the stars are formed and how to finish. If we make an apple pie, then its ingredients are made of malachal and ATM. In addition to hydrogen, all the rest of the atoms are formed inside the stars. Hydrogen itself was made in Big Bang when the universe began. If one shortens the apple pie to an atom, we will take 90 cuts. Inside the atom, proton and neutron nucleus consists in an electrons revolve around it. This nucleus is very small and dense, but the more part of the atom is empty. Yet because of the charge of electron, a solid table handles our weight. The nucleus of the atom consists of protons and neutrons. Protons are positively charged and neutron neutrals, but they have a nuclear force that binds them together. The nuclei of hydrogen forms the helium together and the same new elements are formed. All this is just very high temperature, and this nuclear representations of stars inside the stars are not only shining them but also making new chemical elements. Alchemy, who had ancient attempts to convert elements to each other, became the beginning of the modern chemistry. On where alchemy finished, science showed us that the new elements are born inside the stars. Our sun is a nuclear reactor that is transforming 400 million tons of hydrogen every second into helium. This nuclear fusion reaction occurs at 40 million degree temperatures inside the sun. Light from the sun, the journey of photon up to 1 million years, takes this energy we get from the top of the sun that is essential for life. Neutrinos that are formed during the nuclear fuse reaction is another miracle of the sun. It is almost transparent for the particle matter and goes straight from the inside of the sun. In a second, billion neutrinos pass through the inside of our body without making us feel something, but the lack of solar neutrinos is still an unsolved mistress. Carl Sagan says that a star fuses its life hydrogen. Helium starts by turning into when it has a hydrogen finish, then he creates carbon and oxygen by fusion the helium. Stars like the sun become a red joint at the end of his life, so large that the Mercury and Venus are swallowed. Perhaps the meaning also goes inside it when it stops the fusion reaction. Star shrink is a white dwarf, a small and dense body that gradually cools. Large stars that are 2 or 3 times more masses from the sun are eliminated as supernova or exfoliation make new elements. Those who spread across interstellar clouds are left 6 billion years from patch. Even at the end of the new stars and planets are born, but one day is decided to meet inside the sun. Perhaps the human civilization will either go to Mars, Europa, and Titan, or will be looking for a new world in a new star system. When we look at the stars in the night sky, he is the miracles of the distant nuclear fusion. Every star is a story of the journey between his life and death, and perhaps a day we go to the same stars. This stories from our eyes. The stars like sun become the red giant in the end of their lives and then turn to the white dwarf. The large stars that are over the sun make neutron stars or black holes after supernova exploitation. A lot of stars in supernova are thrown into the matter space that creates new elements. These elements work again in creating new stars and planets. Everything we are made of starch. Carbon in our DNA is iron in our blood and all of these elements in our surrounding environment. Black holes is a mysterious phenomena is a very simmering star that supernova explodes in the end of its life. The inside part of the neutron star or black hole becomes a place where gravity is so much that nothing, even lights, can go out of there. Black holes distort space-time due to which we do not see them directly. The space and time are linked to each other. When we travel into space, we also proceed in time. Light speed 1 according to special relativity cosmic speed limit is the faster we can travel closer to the light as we can proceed in time, but we can never go faster than the light. This rules is essential for the constancy of our universe. Carl Sagan says that our world and universe have a deeper relationship. Stars' life handles our lives as their death and the elements they have created. This unique relationship of space and time helps us to understand our place. With our future exploration and discovery, we also deeply understand the universe. And maybe a day we get to stars. Chapter 10, The Edge of Forever. But first event happened, Big Bang. This was the beginning that our universe started. All matter and energy were a cosmic one, such as Sumit, in a mathematical dot that was without any dimension. It was not in a corner of matter and energy universe, but the entire universe was in a small place. At that time there was no more space to be vents. With a large explode it began to expand the universe which has been running so far. It would be wrong to think of the descending bubble to understand this expulsion, because there was nothing out of it to be seen from the inside as a fabric that uniforms spread across all directions as space expended matter and energy were expended with and rapid cooling cosmic fireballs radiation that was at the time and today even in the universe cooled and reached the infrared and radio waves from gamma ray. This radiation can be seen by radio telescopes today as a cosmic background. A billion years after Big Bang became some of the lumps of matter due to the gravity of these lamps and the gas began to be stretched. It worked for primlastabucks and ice skates, and it started coming to galaxy. The small clouds inside the galaxy were also gravitational colloids. The colloids was so intense that the thermonuclear reaction began due to high temperature and the first stars turn on. This new stars left in the explodes interstellar gas and supernova. This element became fuel for the birth of new stars and planet. Today clusters of galaxy universes fill some clusters keep a small number of galaxies such as our local group. There are some clusters such as Virgo clusters with thousands of galaxies crimped together. Every galaxy is made with a different story. Spirals, elliptics, and irregulars. Some galaxies have gravitational bronzes that connect them to each other. Galactic collisions hear a different story. When the galaxy hits then colloids, those gas and dust on the stars pass across each other. These collisions distort the galaxy and create new patterns such as ring galaxy that seems like a splash at all temporary is on every galaxy is a fluid structure that automatically evolves. Quasar, which is the billion-year-old galaxy universe, has the brightest and violet objects. It is due to the massive black holes in the cores of the galaxy that conjugate dust and gas. Quasar's brightness is such an intense that it seems to be equal to 1,000 supernova. These explosions devastate the entire galaxy and their planet. It shows us that being together of life and destruction in the universe is a strange thing. Milky Way too massive hydrogen from its core. Clouds are ejector. This galactic center is a strong gamma ray source that indicates to be a hidden black hole. The motion inside the galaxy cries once a beautiful and compaction year, and the spiralums make the stage for the birth of the new stars. Every galaxy is a dynamic and living system. Stars create new elements in their life cycle and leave them in space. These elements create new stars and planets and sometimes also handle life, and this galaxy also finishes a day either in black holes, transforms or eliminates their energy and fades. Cosmos is the combination of beauty and the case gives us the chance to understand the cycle of creation and destruction. There is a scale and complication of universe for small organisms like us. Sun and its planet Milky. They rotate once every 250 million years inside the galaxy. The new stars are born inside the spiral arms, but the stars of the medium age, such as Sun, are in the middle of these arms. Our Sun is in a quiet place among the spiral arms at this time. In history, this is going inside the spiral arms when it is passing through the spiral arm. Interstellar clouds and dusts encounter much. That could probably be the cause of our Earth's icy jas. W. Napier and S. Club also believe that some of the moss and asteroids such as Phobos and some comets have come from the interstellar space and Sun has captured them while going inside the spiral arms. The thing can be confirmed with the testing of the magnesium isotope, which can tell the origin of the star system of these objects. Doppler effect of sound and light waves from us to a lot of understanding. On hearing the horn of a fast car as it changes its back, the light spectrum of the galaxy can be red shifted or blue shifted. If a galaxy is going away from us, his light spectrum will show red shifted and blue shifted if the pass is coming. This Doppler effect creates a solid base for the Big Bang thicker that tells the universe expanding. Edwin Hubble and Milton Humpson looked at the spittle lines of the disk galaxy and headed their redshift. He saw that as far as galaxy is, the more his redshift is. The discovery helps to understand that the university's expansion uniform is the research of the Hubble, and Humus revealed that the galaxy's redshift is just the cause of their exemption. The universe began with a large expulsion and has since been expended from the cosmic background radiation that comes from every direction shows that Big Bang is a perfect thing. This radiation is now cool, but its consultancy speaks of a symmetrical and uniform origin. According to Hinduism, the universe passes through the infinite cycle. There is an ever-moving story between creation and destruction. The Big Bang theory supports that the universe is probably in an oscillate cycle with a Big Bang after the destruction of an old cosmos. Every cycle can become new lodges and new patterns, but there is a spatial combination to become intelligent beings like us. If the universe is oscillate, then the expulsion occurs after the contract. Some of the psychists think that the time of the contraction will move upside down and the sequence of events will be overturned as the first relapse in lake. It's difficult to understand the idea, and then the stone will be thrown. But it's also important to explore its positivity. Big Bang and oscillate universes theory gives a strange mix of hope and mistress. Whether the universe is expanded and cooled or oscillate and go into new bicycles, we have to do our time full use. This journey of cosmos gives an opportunity not just to understand but also to learn and explore. If this is right, we will be inspired to ask an infinite and complication and find answers to them. Standing along the edge of the space, we can just start looking for a new world by hitting a small leap. Chapter 11: The Process of Memory. Suppose we all live in an ocean where the largest and sensible creature is well. They have a lot of time back to the land. They have a lot of size, sometimes 30 m length and 150 tons of weight, and speak to the voices from each other. Perhaps we don't fully understand how far these whales can talk to each other. In the first ocean there will probably be a voice to the whole globe, but then humans have ships, submarine, and the path between them is spoiled with industrial noises. Now it is probably a few thousand kilometers. There is another big mute for whales. The victims of them by humans make lipstick or industrial oil from their body part. Japan is still hunting due to countries such as Norway and the Soviet Union. If we want to contact wacky distant stars and aliens, then first we have to learn to communicate ourselves with the sensible creatures of our Earth. Every man learns every organism from his genus and mind. Write the ways to live in genes when it is time to breathe or how to digest food, but from the brain he shares songs from each other. Families recognize and learn new ways by using the brain. Genes are made of DNA that just have things like 4 alphabets called nucleotides. Viruses have just 10,000 bits. Means a small page as much as the bacteria's genes are equal to about 1 million bits or 100 pages. An amoeba then uses 400 million bits. Means 80 thick books as much as it shows all in us, whether it is human or well. there is a large library of genes and the library of minds. Due to this library, we learn all the alive and sing our songs. Whether we are a seaside or understanding of the ground, we have to respite all these libraries and understand them better. Human or Wells genes contain about 5 billion bits of information. Every person has a complete library in the nucleus of 100 trillion cells. This library holds the instruction to create us. Every time a cell divides occur, this instance's compact copy contains a lever. Cells know how to make a bonus, and this genetic library is the work of leveraging the bone cell, understanding and running every work of our body. An apple food is almost like a magic. If we have to make our enzymes ourselves, we are probably hungry that has perfected enzymes and chemical steps in the billions of years. It is amazing of DNA. We have bacteria, and whales have some common pages in our genes that show their shared evolutionary history. The instances of the genus are never complete, so brain's evolution has occurred. Brain helps to understand every environment and find the solution of the new challenge. Our brain is the evolved in 3 layers. The oldest brainstem then controls our dot complexion and territories and cerebral cortex, which works to think and understand. The cerebral cortex is the largest part of our brain. It is home to into and analyzing, the origin of our thinking and civilization. The neurons, microscopic switching cells in the brain, are all that are around 100 billion. The connections of neurons that have 100 trillion make our memories and thinking. This neural network works like a dancing pattern, such as Charles Sagan had disassembled. Carl Sagan says brain's information content is equal to 20 million books. Its different CKs handle different tasks, such as language processing or memory storage. Memories redundant, stored in different places. There is a constant dialogue between our analytical and creative capability that occurs from the corpus callosum. Our brains have more than 10,000 times more information from our genus. Our basic survival from the genus. Instincts come on the cerebral cortex gives us a freedom of self-awareness and kawa. What we put in our mind and what we learn is the responsibility of ourselves. Cities like evolves are similar to brain's evolution. Every layer works on a new function made for the old layer. Cities have access to old spaces to create new bridges or tunnels. The evolution of brain's layers is also on the same principle. The old system moves while working new. We created the libraries after the limitations of genes and brains. Time travel made of leaves works like a book, brings the voice of the old man to this day. Writing is the largest invention of human beings that connect us to each other. Library that remains to search and read books is the largest source of our interactive knowledge. If books are not, we don't know much about our visitors. Library gives us new ideas and inspiration. Progress of a society is judged by the health of its libraries. Our genes are our brain and our libraries in different ways. The record of Vezzer spacecraft is a new memory that will live up to the billion of years. This record is a message that connects us to our future and alien civilization. Television signals that we have sent in space can become our identity for aliens. Perhaps they will find our commercial shows and stories of the other strange and difficult to understand. Yet we have sent through Vezzer spacecraft to a soulful and thoughtful message that reproaches our humanity. Our brain and our technology will make us feel new ideas and societies. Let us have a chance to connect with. If the aliens listen to our signals, perhaps he will be interested in our evolution and brands. He would like to understand how we think and what we know. We must prepare our world to become part of the galactic civilization by grading the whole world. Chapter 12 Encyclopedia Galactica. We have so far sent to 4 spacecraft stars. Pioneer 10, Pioneer 11, Vezzer 1, and Vezzer 2 say that if there are so many stars and planets, how we can be alone. Probably intelligent on many. If you have a civilization, you have to find out what if it happens. Perhaps we have not received any credible evidence yet. There are things like UFO stories and ascent astronauts, but if any advanced civilization is coming, then their technology will be far ahead of us. We will not be able to do anything in front of them. The second chance that we get our radio signal, a detail message, we can't see them, but they will tell us how the beings are, what they think about. Galactic interaction will greatly benefit us as well as prove that no civilization will be able to live for a long time without ruining itself. Carl Sagan says we should note that science and math are the same place that advances civilization will have to be the same as physics, chemistry, and mathematics. If he talks to us, then this language will be the easiest. Natural law is universal and radio can be a common tool. How much civilizations can happen if their real signals are from more compacted technology? For that, we think a formula like Drake equiment. First, we count how many stars are. How many of them will be planet in the planet? How many life will be suitable in the planet? How many of them will come from life to intelligence, and how many civilization technology will be able to reach? We can understand this by adding many assets to life on a lot of planets. How much will we have radio civilization like us? It is still unclear if all the advanced societies end themselves. Perhaps we are alone if there are some such societies that survive. When we go ahead, they can count a lot. Then we can find a signal of them. If we were able to contact all of our galactic neighbors, we will know that we are not alone. The second version of the contact is here, but we think that if it is 200 light years away from us, they need 200 years. The speed of the light will be slower and late. They have reached anywhere else before, or no one else can get us from the regeneration, or that people are observing us. Perhaps we don't see them due to their no interference rules. Before we can see in our history, when the advanced civilization gets less advanced, like Spain made their destruction to Aztec together, or France has harmed the Lintum, very often the advanced side to the backwards, but it may be that there may be no such political or greedy thinking in the aliens. He may be more spurful than human, or that at his sight we are the children who are not worth inning with them. Then it is more possible to contact the radio wave, as it is less expensive technology. Speed of light is moving on, and the whole galaxy can pass through a TV show from here. 200 years away from star will arrive in 200 years. Perhaps there is no advanced dish to use her by watching our cartoon news and advertising. She can understand a lot about us. Carl Sagan says we have to understand that it would not be difficult to decode if the messages have ever come. Science and mathematics are all in place. Sagan says that it is difficult to start when we find money in creating search radio telescopes, and it is also difficult to use governments, but if we do, when we will understand that we are alone technical civilization, or a lot of rearings, and if found, we will change all the times that if they know that they have created their own messages because they know that we will use the radio. They have more advanced methods, but they will understand that we will meet the radio. One day, if we will send clear artificials, perhaps these futures may be part of the galactic community. We take centuries to come to their visitors. But this is the only inspiring that we will be sharing knowledge with an old civilization that we have never dreamed about. The chapter 13 U spikes for Earth. Pythagoras time Ain MS asked why I don't wake up the stars when you are always afraid of death or slavery. This question still entails many of us. We live on a small world, but our eyes are up to the stars above. In a story, the sun's god speaks that I give light on everyone's heat. Let me spin the whole day so that everyone can understand. Perhaps the same message applies to all of us, that we take care of our land and every organism. We have just discovered the cosmos truly just a while ago. Sagan says that for the eternity years people felt that the meaning is everything, but gradually we understood that we have a very small part of this large universe. The meaning is a small point of light. In this Watt universe, when we see them from far away, the borders quarrels themselves fire different identities seem to be worthless. Yet we nuclei we're going to make the weeps, and we're at risk every moment we want to live, and so ignore people like H.G. Wells said that all of us are at the beginning. How much we have to do is if we will never be able to fight in the same way. If we will create a better society for everyone except the war, we will also be able to explore the cosmos. Why do we need nuclear bombs and missile systems? If we think, then all this is the cause of the mind of humus. From the same technology we can create both spacecraft or warheads if we fight. We may go to the planet or send signals to the stars if we use to find physicist L. F. Richardson studied how long a big battle occurs. His diagram thinks that the lesser the war comes on, nuclear weapons can reverse all because the same big war will erase ever one. He showed that it's just a big version of mass murder means that only the scale in war grows and the fundamental logic is the same if we know so much. Even in mutual if you're fighting, our ruin is sure that the time Sagan says the right new half scientist and is are working for the military all over the world. Nuclear arms race is running if we're just like that, we'll be ignoring, but how long we ever try to eliminate any anger or any mistake of our world. We have to understand our thinking, in turn, all countries that are the greatest work of meaning. The benefit from the security of everyone is not what we want to be a civilization that will find a better future out of our place or that which is what we have to think about. You will end up Einstein said that if the war or fear is to be avoided, the fundamental changes must bring. We all have an ancient part. Our complement cortex has created which can learn the region and imagination. Children will find love, they will have less anger or violence. This study shows that our greatest victory is that we control our loyalty instinct and keep your intelligence up. Science is the best tool of our minds so far. It is not perfect, but self-acting. We have the same as universe. The way of understanding gives the ultimateness of life can be applied on all the concepts of life. No secret truth should do all the Amen test. If someone with the fact is contacted, it must be deleted. We are the star stuffs that are trying to understand the cosmos. At a time, Alexandria had the best library. All the biggest scientists were, but they never sounded on social question. The inventory science disappeared from there. The library was burned and many knowledge flowed. We should not make this mistake again. The knowledge is a hack and the knowledge just wept. Not everything but for the better life of all. In the 4.6 billion years of meaning, there is a lot of wonders of life. We have descendants of all the developments. Now, we can move from rocket radii and computer to space. If we can save the meaning together, we can accumulate our steps in Cosmo a day. The culture can be different, but when we see from the far, the uniform looks. The default societies are still a shared destination. We have to respite everyone. All the coziness is a wrong step will sink into everyone if we will see it. We can become part of all the cosmic futures. Today we are moving towards a global society. From the perspective of cosmos, we can understand that we are part of the same caste and our defense is only possible when we will secure our world together. We must look towards a future that is based on exploration, condition, and survival. Carl Sagan says that we are the star stuffs of stars. We are the protector of the earth, and if we are not for ourselves, save our existence for cosmos. A cosmic perspective is not just the survivor. The way to flourish also shows for today just that we will then find you thanks to a new topic in a new episode.